Hi everyone, it's Jen here. Thank you for watching Really Rooted. I live and garden in central North Carolina, Zone 8A, previously Zone 7B. I started gardening because I suffer from anxiety, and gardening has really given me an outlet, and it's become a passion of mine. I must warn you though, my garden is far from perfect. I have weeds and I have things that need work, and my garden is constantly evolving. Let me show you around. So this is the front of our house, and we call this the fountain garden. In here I have some butterfly bush planted, a boxwood hedge, we have some creeping jenny, some salvia, phlox, black and blue salvia, which does really well here. I had it here last year and it just really thrived. We have some liriope. This needs to come out. This kind is the kind that spreads, and I don't really want it to spread. I want a little bit near the stone, and that's really about it. I have some sedum in here, and a lily coming up there. All of this is phlox, and it looks really nice with all the white blooms. This garden is white, blues, purples. I really need to trim up the boxwoods a little bit. And then I've sown some seeds over here. Lots of salvia over here because it is drought resistant. This is the highest point in our yard, so everything drains away from this fountain, which means I need things that are drought tolerant. I did spread some cleome seeds. We will see if those come up. And then I recently replaced the spreading liriope with this variegated clumping form, so we'll see how that does. We had two large pin oaks in front of the house. We took those out. One was dying. One was just about dead and the other one was dying, so it was time to make a decision. These are Foster hollies, and I believe they'll get to, 20 feet maybe, maybe about 8 foot wide. And then we replaced our boxwood hedge. We had winter gem boxwood hedge, and it was not doing well. The winter green, however, does really well in this area, so we went ahead and replaced them all. I've kind of curved this part just so I have a place for annuals, and it just kind of welcomes you into this walkway. I have a couple of plants up here I need to get in the ground. The climbing rose, I have one on each side, but you could see the one on this side is doing much better than the other one. But now that both of those trees are out, hopefully they will both thrive and we'll have a nice climbing rose go all the way over the arch. These Eugenia topiaries I overwintered, and they are taking a while to bounce back, but they are coming. I'm not sure I'm going to go through the trouble to overwinter Eugenia topiaries again. I love the way they look, but again, I'm just too impatient. Let's go down here to the rose garden. I recently made an investment for these boxwoods. It says it is a Green Mountain boxwood, but to me it looks like maybe a green velvet. It has more of a darker, dense, compact growth. And they were expensive. I did buy them at Lowe's, but I think they'll last, and they really add some elegance to this formal area. Look at those roses. The roses in the center here are Atlas roses, and the Lady Gardner rose, and they are just doing their thing. I have some roses along that walkway as well. One was supposed to be a patio rose, this large one, but it actually looks to be a climbing rose. I constantly have to trim it back, so I need to get a trellis back there for it. And let me show you these roses. This, I believe, is a Lady Gardner, and this is At Last. These are taking a little bit longer because this boxwood was wintergreen and it's done quite well. That's how I knew it would do well. But these don't quite get as much sun as the other ones. Over here we have a Dobbs Frosted Juniper Standard, and let me show you this thing. It's grafted right onto a trunk, but I'm beginning to think that it is too heavy, so I need to definitely get in there and trim it. I also have these bulbs coming up, which are either Crocosmia or Mexican shellflower, I'm not sure, but that is the trunk of the juniper there. So I'm just worried that it's going to break off, so I will definitely get in here soon and trim it. Over here we have some tall snapdragons. I planted these last fall, and they have done phenomenal. I really like the taller variety of the snapdragon. It really gives a great wow factor to the garden. I have a peony back here that's just about done. It only had 2 blooms on it. This area does get some, maybe a little more shade than the peony would like. This crepe myrtle is deciduous, so in the winter time it does get a lot more sun. I have an azalea, encore azalea, some heuchera, some weeds. Everything really grows well here in North Carolina because of the amount of rain we get, but with that comes a lot of weeds. This peony did not bloom. I need to make sure it is not too deep. Peony also do not like to be buried too deeply. Have some lilies back here. And then this is a calla lily. And then we have some little anemones. And I definitely need to get back here and weed. And then another drift of snapdragons, and again, this doesn't get quite as much sun. You can tell because the other ones are looking a little more marvelous. There's my honey. Say hi, Tom.
Hi, baby. Get that drip turned on.
Before I do that, I want to show you these. These are called Klondike Azalea, and they're just about done, but they're really, really beautiful. They are a deciduous azalea, and they start out with these kind of reddish blooms, and they turn to orange, and then to this beautiful, it's more of a tangerine to me, color. We have some rain in our forecast, and the garden needs it. I do have plants up here that I need to get in the ground. Lord Petalum and a juniper. We transplanted this boxwood. I'm not sure if it's going to make it or not. It has a lot of brown in there that needs to be cut out. I just planted these Baptisia. This is called Grape Escape. Over here we have a viburnum snowball bush. You can see another back there. I have some hostas, some lilies. This is just quite the collection. I may have to remove these hostas since I want to show you guys something. Look at this thing. Cicada. Look at that guy. So we are in North Carolina, so we will have the cicadas this year. They're just beginning to make their debut. And so anyhow, I may have to move these hostas depending on how these do with the sun. You can see here we're in late April and they already have some damage on them. Well, some of that's bird mess, but like that is a little bit scorched. So we will just wait and see. This is a clematis. I'm not sure what variety. It's been there for several years. And it doesn't get very large because the trellis isn't large. I have that other trellis back here. I was thinking of mounting that on the wall, but I'm not sure because it's the front of the house. This oak leaf hydrangea was one of the things that was here when we moved here. And it is just magnificent. This viburnum did its thing early on. It was one of the first things to bloom. Some mop head hydrangeas here. And I bought 2 more of the Endless Summer. They look a little dry, but I like to place my plants just to see how they do in an area prior to planting them, especially with something like hydrangea that needs a little bit of sun. But not too much. Those foxglove have come back from last year. This is a lemon lime. Oh, I forgot the name. Is it a lemon lime elderberry? This is a teddy bear magnolia getting ready to do its thing. We have some columbine here. And let me take you guys up here. Look at this peony. Peony. Isn't this gorgeous? My husband counted these. We have, I think, 28 blooms on this thing. So I will be cutting some off for cut flowers. And this peony normally blooms, but it did not this year. So I'm not sure what is going on. I just love this little corner of the pathway. It's kind of more of a woodland look. This is an Oriental spruce. And it's putting on a lot of new growth, but we do watch it carefully for bugs. And we have a red bud that has self-seeded, and the Carolina Sapphire Cypress, which I planted in a video a few years ago. Tom? Oh guys, look, Tom? Tom! Snake! So we're gonna respect this snake, but it is a black snake. So black snakes supposedly eat copperheads, so we are gonna leave him alone. This over here is part of the shrubs that we took out from the front. This is the winter gem boxwood. They are doing better over here. Now these 4 were taken from the planters that were back by the pool, and these were just recently transplanted here, so they're taking a little bit longer. You can see I have different soil over here. Over here the soil is a little bit drier. It's not the heavy clay like I have in most of my yard. These were planted prior to us moving here. And the ivy has just taken over, and we're trying to eradicate this ivy and really struggling with it. But we will get it out of here eventually. But this is a beautiful bearded iris. And this is the first year we've had this many blooms over here. So oftentimes the foliage will come up a little bit, but they haven't bloomed this profusely before. I believe that's called the Rising Sun Redbud, but I will have to double check. But you see it has a different color than the standard redbud, which is over here. I have these seeded all over the forest. We own the property to the back here, and we have all kinds of redbuds. So if you want a redbud and you live in North Carolina, send me a note and I will be sure to dig one up for you. This pine tree over here, we're self-seeded, and we decided to let it do its thing. We have some coneflower here, candy apple hydrangeas flanking the walkway. Behind it is an October Magic camellia. And then we have some Japanese maples back here. This one over here is doing better. It's larger than that one. Some weeds over here I need to get to. I hate that stuff. This is a ground orchid. This is the first year that that's really put on a show. Have some rose campion back there that just keeps self-seeding. And then we have on top of the pillars, we have a Montana agave. So this is a sweet autumn clematis on the gate here. And sweet autumn clematis, if you live in North Carolina, you have to be careful because that will seed everywhere. So, but it's really easy to pull up, so it doesn't bother me. And then we have another invasive. This is a wisteria on the pergola, but we do have it contained. We'll just have to stay on top of that. Let's go back up here and I can show you the slinky trellis. This slinky trellis has been here for probably about 3 or 4 years now, and it's really held up. And you can see I just have the slinky, the top part, stuck in between the shepherd's hook, and I just let it fall to the ground. And this clematis doesn't get full sun, it gets part sun. So the blooms have lasted a really long time, and you can see that there's still buds yet to open on it, and then ones that are finished. So that's really nice to be able to enjoy it a little bit longer. Under this Japanese maple, I have a hosta. And then, excuse the mess back here. This is a Zen garden. And back here we have lots of ferns, hostas, Fatsia japonica, a crimson queen, Japanese maple, some hugara. And this is kind of the entrance into the forest. We need to get that cleaned out, but we're not in a hurry. We leave the habitat there for the animals and the wildlife. But I would like to make some walking trails back there and really get rid of the ivy. There is ivy all over this neighborhood, and I just feel like I'm fighting a losing battle with the ivy, the poison oak, and and the Virginia creeper, but I will get there little by little. This is, needs to be cut back, but this is a Carex. I'm a little jumpy since I saw that snake. So back here in this garden, we have a clematis that is just about done. It still has some buds yet to open, so we can enjoy it a little bit longer. But then we also have some that are just finishing up. So on this particular vine, I'm gonna grow another vine over the summer and see how that does. I hope I don't wreck this clematis, but if I do, it's a pretty common one. We have some Mount Everest. Hi! Mount Everest alliums in here. Lots of lilies, boxwood hedge, lemon lime nandina, crocosmia. We had some daffodils in here. This is a really pretty bed. Back at the pool, you can see the snowball viburnum blooming. They're quite large. They put on such a beautiful show. This clematis happens to be one of my favorite. This is the Duchess of Edinburgh, and this is planted mostly in shade. It's part sun, and it has done really well for me this year. It has climbed up this old satellite wire, and when our painters came, they asked me if I wanted to take it down, and I said absolutely not. But I do need to tighten it, but I will wait till it's done blooming to tighten that wire up or come up with the solution for this clematis to climb on. It has beautiful double flowers and is just lovely. This is a mock orange, and I love it. It's so beautiful. It needs to be trimmed though, but I let it flesh out and then we trim it. And that leads to this path. I'm gonna go on the other side because it's just a little bit, it's a pretty view. You stalking me, mister?
I am.
So over here I have salvia. I like red in the back of the garden because we have crocosmia flanking both sides. Then we have a wintergreen boxwood hedge, and then the limelight hydrangeas that peek over the edge. And so I garden in layers, and that mimics the limelight hydrangeas. I have 3 on the back side of the pool, which is nice. And I just planted the salvia, so it looks a little rough yet. I call this Hosta Alley. And we have an iceberg rose here that I thought was just a rose, but it's actually a climber. And I'm going to move this trellis in front of it just to hold it up, because I'm working against it, trying to get it to, trying to tie it up to that trellis. It's just not working out that well. And another mock orange. This one is not doing as well as the other one, which is right in front of me. I have Big Daddy Hosta, Curly Fries Hosta in here, some varieties that I'm not familiar with. We have some bleeding hearts in the back, and some ferns. And I may have to move some of these hostas. It's quite overgrown. And then over here we have some more hostas and ferns, camellia, a hydrangea, and then some more of this mock orange. And I just love this little secluded area, and it brings you back over to this side. if you guys are not growing lambs here, you must grow it. And I like growing mine in part shade. It has gone crazy. I do need to get back here and clean out these beds. But although it does spread like crazy, I feel like it's easy to pull up. And you could just pull it up, plant it in another space, and it will take instantly. That's what I've done over here. And so if you have a space that you need to fill quickly, lamb's ear is a good choice. Thank you all so much for watching Really Rooted. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. And also, I'd love to hear back from you. I'd love to hear what gardening does for your mental or your physical health. Thanks so much. Bye.